Now, when I first started doing paranormal investigations here in Carmel, I pretty much was doing a lot of the investigations here at the Lamb House. A couple people told me about a place in Levant, a road that's referred to as Dead Man's Curve. Both people said the place is haunted. I decided to go ahead and Google Dead Man's Curve in Levant, and what I found was a news article about two 16-year-old girls who died in a car accident, and they ruled that this car accident was suicide. So before I went to Dead Man's Curve at Levant, I was here in the Lamb House, and I decided to go ahead and do a paranormal investigation to see if any of these spirits here at the Lamb House know anything about the hauntings at Dead Man's Curve. And to my surprise, when I started doing the investigation here in the Lamb House, asking questions about Dead Man's Curve, there was a young female voice that asked me if she was dead. And after I answered her and said, yes, you are, it seemed like everything that was going on with this situation about the two girls killed at Dead Man's Curve, these spirits started talking about it. Yes, you are. Cass and Emily, do you remember dying in the car accident when your car ran into the tree? Do you remember that? You guys left a suicide note. When you smashed your car into that tree and crashed into the tree, did you intend on killing yourselves? Cass and Emily, this Friday I'm going to Levant where you guys died. Meet me out there. What? This was enough for me to go on. I decided to go ahead and load up what equipment I had back in those days and do an investigation at Dead Man's Curve. I parked my car at the two crosses on Dead Man's Curve where Cass and Emily both died. And I'm getting my equipment out, I'm getting set up to go ahead and start a pre-investigation. And while I'm setting this equipment up, a car pulls up with New Jersey tags on. A lady gets out of the car and she approaches me and started talking with me. And she asked me what I was doing here, and I told her, I said, well, actually, I'm doing a documentary about Dead Man's Curve here, and I'm going to go ahead and look into the two girls that died here in Levant in this curve in 1998. And she looked at me and said, well, one of the girls died as my daughter. She was Cass. And what I thought was kind of strange is that the investigation I did at the Lamb House, I had no doubt that was the voice of Cass Roberts. And now all of a sudden, while I'm trying to start this investigation, Cass Roberts' mother shows up to the scene. And what's even more strange, She said that she was actually on her way to the cemetery but took a wrong turn and ended up where she ended up. She decided she was just going to go ahead and stop at the two crosses. Now that's not a coincidence. I was just standing here thinking about Cass. You pulled up and you're Cass's mother. What are the odds of that?
Yes, it's no coincidence.
This is a picture of Cass right here. I'm assuming, what year was that taken?
She was about 12 there.
I'm going to look into Cass for you. I'm going to get down in the bottom of what really happened here. And hopefully we can find out what happened that night.
I'd appreciate that.
We'll look into it. When I talked to Cass's mother, she in fact does believe in spirits and she does believe in the afterlife. And I told her what happened during the pre-investigation at my house before I came to Dead Man's Curve, that there is a female that didn't sound like she didn't even know she was dead, and I really thought that this was Cass. We decided to go ahead and do a pre-investigation. Cass's mother was there with me, and I turned on the spirit box, and to our surprise, is there anybody out here right now that would like to speak with us? A few days later, we came back to Dead Man's Curve. Cass's mother joined us, and I do believe that Cass and her mother got to say their goodbyes. Is there anybody else here that wants to speak with us, please? Hi. Hi. It's a girl's voice. Did you want to get closer? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? My name's Kent. Do you know who's standing next to me in front of me here?
This is Mom, and if you're stuck, I want you to move on. I love you. I love you both.
I didn't show everything that happened in that investigation because it was more like a private matter between Cass and her mother, but I can say that they did in fact got to make peace with each other. But what was really strange about this Cass Roberts investigation is the fact that it was ruled as suicide. These spirits during this investigation said that this was not suicide, and according to Cass, this was a lie. Cass Roberts. I'm looking to speak with Cass Roberts. I'm looking to speak with Cass Roberts. Cass, are you still here? Cass, do you see a light at all? Rest in peace, girl, okay? Not long after the Dead Man's Curve investigation, a couple of people told me about Irish Road. They said you really need to investigate Irish Road because there's a lot of strange stuff that happened on this road, and there's a lot of possible paranormal activity that people have witnessed. One night I went down to Irish Road and I took a couple cameras with me, and I was doing an investigation at the corner of Irish and Fuller Road. And during that investigation, I heard two teenage voices of males, and one of them said, "Help me, I'm scared." Now, that got my attention. I'm thinking, okay, who can these two teenagers be? And let me point out, I had not yet looked into Irish Road. I only went down there to do a pre-investigation. After capturing the voices of these two teens, I decided to go ahead and look closer into Irish Road. And when I Googled deaths on Irish Road in Carmel, the first thing that came up was two teenage boys killed in a car accident on November 2011. In November of 2011, 16-year-old James and 14-year-old Richard was coming down Irish Road, and when they came across the Fuller Road, they were going over 100 miles an hour. They turned out their headlights, went through the stop sign over 100 miles an hour, and lost control of their vehicle. Their vehicle slammed into this pole on the driver's side, spun around and hit a tree over in this section here, and came to rest over in here. And my first thought went back to when I did this pre-investigation. I heard the young teenage voice that said, "Help me, I'm scared." Later on, I go back to Irish Road where the two crosses are, and I do an investigation, and at that time I only knew the boys by James and Richard. I did not know what names they went by as far as nicknames. And during that investigation, the name Jimmy comes up, and Cleve's standing there, and he said that voice said Jimmy. That's when Cleve informed me that James actually went by Jimmy. At this time, I knew there's a strong possibility that the boys were there, their spirits were there. Somebody placed a baseball here, so they must have been into baseball.
Yeah, but there have been little matchbox cars, there was a hunting knife, because I guess one of them liked to hunt. There's been, a bunch of different stuff here. They really need to come back and clean this site up a little better than that. And they should come back to make it look.
Hey boys, if you're here, my name's Kent, and I think I heard from you last year. You guys said you wanted help. I'm going to be coming back here in about 2 or 3 days. Are you here? My name's Kent, and if you're here, I'm sure you know the neighbors right here. If you're here, can you tell me your name, please? Were you killed in a car accident? Yes. Were you killed in a car accident? Can you? Yes. Yes. Are you able to tell me your name? Is there something about a car that scares you? Can you tell me about that? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Afraid? Afraid? Yeah, of what? What's scaring you? Can you guys verify to me that you're here, please? Whoa, that's verification. Thank you. Is there anybody here that died right on this spot where I'm sitting? If you died on this spot, can you tell me your name, please? If you died right here. Somebody said you're afraid. You're scared. What are you afraid of? What's going on that causes you to be afraid? Can you talk to me about it? Can you talk to me about it? After doing a full investigation at that crash site, I pretty much concluded without a doubt the spirit of Jimmy was in fact there on Irish Road. And it seemed to me like he was in a state of confusion, not fully understanding what his situation was. And I had a long talk with him, and I talked to him about his circumstances, and I had the impression that he was carrying a lot of guilt over the car accident. Jimmy was actually driving that night, and his stepbrother, soon to be RJ, and his best friend was killed in that car accident, and Jimmy blamed himself. I had a long talk with Jimmy, and I explained to Jimmy that, we all do dumb things when we're younger. God knows I've done some dumb things when I was younger. I mean, what happened was Jimmy blew the stop sign going over 100 miles an hour. I guess it's an adrenaline rush to do something like that as a 16-year-old kid. And, the excitement behind it. But when you're that age, you don't think about the dangers behind it. You're just thinking about, oh, geez, I'm behind the steering wheel, and, and you go over 100 miles an hour, blow a stop sign. And, the excitement and the rush behind it. But I understood where Jimmy was coming from, and I had to sit there and think, well, you know what? I was a boy once, and I was with a friend of mine who did this exact same thing. However, we lived in a large city back then, and we were going down this steep hill, and he was going at least 60 to 70 miles an hour, blowing all the stop signs, and I quickly put on my seatbelt. I mean, this literally scared the crap out of me. I would have personally never done anything like that, but I got to admit it was a rush. I never stopped to think about the consequences of our actions. Somebody could have been killed. And I do remember another situation. I was driving down the interstate. I was in this really old beat up Dodge Dart, and I was going down the interstate at least 100 miles an hour. I was doing 100. And it was just a rush of just speeding down the interstate. And what's strange is I got off the interstate and drove up the ramp. I made a left-hand turn, and right when I made the left-hand turn, the front right wheel completely fell off the car. What I didn't realize is that the bearings were worn out in that wheel. And I'm very, very lucky that wheel didn't fly off the car when I was doing at least 100 miles an hour, because no doubt at that speed it would have killed me. So I understand, as a young guy doing dumb things, and I was able to relate to Jimmy on this, and I explained to Jimmy about this, and I hoped that Jimmy would understand the situation and understand that he's not the only one that's ever done anything like this. Jimmy, I know you made a mistake. I know you were goofing off having fun, and it cost RJ his life, Richard. And I know you obviously must carry guilt for what happened. I know this must bother you. It was definitely dumb what you did. No doubt about that. I did some dumb things when I was a kid. And it cost you your life, and it cost RJ his life. But I have a feeling you're carrying a lot of guilt over this. You need to let go of the guilt. You're just a kid. You made a mistake. Don't carry this with you into the afterlife. Don't carry this for all eternity. I think everybody understands. You guys are goofing off. But I want you to forget about it, okay? Let go of the guilt. You need to go into peace, all right? And after I talked to Jimmy in that investigation, the last thing he said to me was, "Thank you." Weeks and weeks later, I'm doing the final Irish Road investigation, and I wanted to do investigation on the Irish settlers. And right in the middle of this investigation, all of a sudden the name Jimmy comes up. This investigation took a turn. I decided to go ahead and drop everything about the Irish settlers and go ahead and do an investigation on Jimmy. Before this investigation, Jimmy's mother heard about Ghosts of Carmel, Maine. Somebody told her about it, and she looked at the first investigation I did with Jimmy, and Kathy contacted me and said she wanted to talk to me. Now, it kind of made me nervous because I don't exactly like doing investigations under these kind of circumstances where there are still family members alive. And I have done some investigations where a lot of names have come up, and I found out that some of these names that come up are people who recently died. And I try not to give their last names for respect to the families, but, however, they do come up. Well, Jimmy's mother came over to the house, and she did tell me that that did sound like Jimmy, and it sounded like that's something Jimmy would say, what she heard in that investigation. But after the Irish Road investigation, and after I heard from Jimmy again, and he wanted to talk to his mother, that's when I brought Kathy over to the site where I was doing this investigation, and that's where Jimmy really came through.
I love you, Jimmy.
Love you, Jimmy. Love you, Jimmy.
Jimmy, do you know if RJ's okay?
Yeah?
He's fine? He's fine? 8 years ago at this time, you saw Richard shoot a moose. Do you remember that?
It's definitely Jimmy, he's here.
And you shot your first bird? Yep. Oh my gosh, Jimmy.
When you first asked that, I thought I heard hunting.
Hunting. That was your very first hunting trip, was it
Yeah.
not? Wish I could understand you a little bit better, but I know you're here. You want to tell me something, buddy?
Sound like you said I miss you. Jimmy, did you say I miss you to your mom?
That is still his voice. Oh my gosh.
Jimmy, I'm going to switch this over to white noise to see if we can hear you a little better in real time. So just hang tight. Hang with us. Don't go anywhere.
You have a group with you to talk? Do you remember the song song now, Jimmy?
That sounded like picture to me.
Sound like picture to me too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Jimmy. Jimmy, do you know who I am? Yes? You remember me? I just want to ask you one question for myself. After I had a talk with you about your situation, are you doing better now?
Oh, buddy. I'm struggling. You're good? I don't even know what to say because I miss you so much. You understanding, please, what he's saying at all?
No.
He's saying something.
Yeah.
Can you tell me who you're with, Jimmy? Big Papa, Little Papa? Did you say Big Papa?
It doesn't sound like big. Jimmy, is there anything you want to say to your mom before we shut this off? Jimmy, anything you want to say to your mom before I shut this off?
Something, Mom.
Now, in this investigation, there's a lot of activity that we cut out of this video because, you know, for the privacy between Jimmy and his mother. And Kathy did say a lot of things that she wanted to say to Jimmy, and Jimmy responded. This investigation showed me just how very real this paranormal activity is. When you have encounters with spirits who died over 100 years ago, it's hard to get confirmation with a family member that hears the voice and can confirm, yes, that is in fact that person, and yes, that is their voice, and they can validate the paranormal activity. That's hard to do in an investigation when a spirit talks to you that died over 100 years ago. But when you have paranormal encounters where there is a spirit that's talking with you and family members who are alive today and hear the voice and they can verify, yes, that is who they say they are, that's when this investigation has become extremely amazing.
I don't know if you've had me before, Jimmy. You did.
I miss you. I can physically hug your mom for you, Jimmy. Okay, buddy? I'm really, really, really happy you guys got to talk. And you got to say I love yous to each other. That means a lot to me.
She did. I heard it clear, and I can say it back to you.
I really want people to understand that when we die, that's not the end. I have lost loved ones myself, and when you suddenly lose them unexpectedly, you always kind of carry this guilt. Not kind of, you do carry this guilt that you wish that you could have talked to them before they died. In Kathy's case, and in Cass Roberts' mother's case, they had a very unique opportunity to find closure with their kids.
I love you. I love you both.
I love you too.
I've come back to talk with you for the last time, buddy. Don't know if you're here or not. Jimmy, I'm glad you got to talk with your mom. Alright, I'm sitting in total darkness right now. It's raining out, so don't know if I'll be able to pick up any EVPs or disembodied voices, should there be any. Is there anybody here, please? Jimmy, are you here? I'm going to do a ghost box session here in a little bit. It's raining out, so it's kind of noisy. A little hard to do an investigation in the noise. Just wanted to tell you, I'm really glad you got to talk with your mom. All right, buddy? Whoa, okay. I'm assuming you're here then. And just to let everybody know, none of this stuff, equipment is plugged in. The car's completely shut down, and for this K2 to go off like that, that was some good energy there. Is Jimmy here?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah? Jimmy? Did you find peace? Did you find peace? If you ever need to talk to your mom, I'm around Carmel. If I'm doing an investigation, just say, hey, this is Jimmy. I want to talk to my mom. Okay. I was just curious if Rachel's been helping some of you. All right, I gotta go. I think it's important, anybody watching this video, these investigations, always stay close to your loved ones. Always tell them you love them. Because there can be a time when you least expect it, one of your loved ones will depart from this earth unexpectedly, and you always hope that doesn't happen, but it does, and you just never get the last word in before they died.
The last night I saw him, just an ordinary evening there. Boys were doing their thing, we were doing our thing. They went to my house in Levant to get a printer, since we were moving here. So I did computer's report. They said goodbye in the doorway in our bedroom, hands up like this, saying, "Bye, Mom, love you." And off they went. That was the last time I saw them.
If there's any trouble between you and your loved ones, make peace with them. And for you kids out there, you teenagers out there, you need to keep something in mind. Parents worry about you. They definitely worry about you. And understand something. When you're hurting, your parents are hurting. Be careful out there, because you never know. When you least expect it, something can happen and you're gone. Love your family.
Jimmy was not afraid to show affection. I mean, he'd kiss me in front of his friends, and that's just Jimmy.
And you gave me a copy of a picture, which was with a picture of Jimmy's last kiss